Welcome to part 2 of a 3-part series where we actually talk about 2002, where the first time that our new love of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars met head to head at the theater. Stick around. Out of the time machine again in 2002. Banner year because
Does that make me Sherman?
I don't know.
You've got glasses. So it'd be like you're the
That's
Mr. Peabody.
discrimination.
But I'm saying you'd be the Mr. Peabody, I'd be the Sherman, right?
Okay.
You know.
In the
Anyway,
Wayback Machine.
Yeah, way back.
But 2002, we had both this new franchise which has stolen our hearts.
Yep.
And the old tried and true that didn't feel that true anymore.
As a matter of fact, I can remember the night episode 2 came out. And why do I remember the night?
Why?
Because we weren't there. It was a 12:01 midnight showing again, and we didn't go.
No.
And the next day I went to work. I think you went to work. And I actually got a phone call from a mutual friend of ours. And we impromptu ended up going to that movie that night.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of remember it, being more or less like, I'm not going to go see this film.
Or I'm not going to give it the same heart.
You're not going to get the same investment out of me.
See, and that's the thing. We're not even talking about this on a cinematic level, thematic level. We're talking about it of an emotional level because that's what the movies meant to us. And they still mean to us.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But we kind of had to age into that. But we'll get into that later. But yes.
But it was May of 2002, and we ended up going to see the film. And this time we only saw it once. I know I only saw it once in theaters. I know for a fact I only saw it once in theaters. And don't get me wrong, this was a far better film.
It was.
Than episode 1. And we kind of expected that because, of course, there was rumors and stories floating around and that Lucas was pulled back and some other individuals helped with scripting. And, you know, there was all these rumors, all these stories. You don't know what to believe, especially at that time. It wasn't like the Disney machine is now, you know, where they give you what you want. But this was a marketably better film. And I think still one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen is the Obi-Wan Jango Fett in the rain. It is a great scene, and it's a fun scene. And it's also really cool because, if I'm not mistaken, we got to see Mace and everybody kind of mix it up at the
on Genosha's.
And and that was kind of neat. It was really neat.
Yeah.
So that was very enjoyable. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we also got to see Yoda's fight, which is probably one of the highest parts of that film.
Yes. But even back then, you still felt like fan service. I thought it was cool, but I wasn't. Because there's something to it where it's like, that ain't my Yoda?
Well, no. I mean, we got what we had. I feel like we got more of what we wanted in episode 2.
We did.
But it was too late. You know what I mean? The damage had been done from episode 1. So it didn't matter what you showed us.
Right.
You know, it was too late. Okay, and that was part of the problem. I think.
And honestly, I mean, was there anything really built upon with episode 1?
No.
You could have started right at episode 2 and told the same story.
Which is the argument we've had before. The whole Jake Lloyd wasn't needed. It really wasn't. It wasn't needed. I mean, don't get me wrong, love Liam Neeson. I love everything he's in. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. He's a great actor. But I didn't need Qui-Gon. I didn't need Jar Jar. And I really, at the end of the day, didn't need Darth Maul.
And we really didn't need midi-chlorians.
No. Thank you, Disney, for abandoning that. But the long and short of it is we get through this, we talk about it, we're having the same conversations we had. Boy, it was okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
it was all
introduced another
right.
cool
Yeah,
bad guy
yeah,
that they just
yeah,
killed off. Good thing I
yeah,
bought all those toys
yeah,
for that.
yeah, pretty much. But then December rolls around, and the difference between this time and last time, I took the day off the day that movie came out. And we saw that film like 2 or 3 times. And what film is that, Rob? What film did we see 2 or 3 times in December?
The Two Towers.
That is correct. Probably single-handedly one of the best films I have ever seen in the theaters, bar none, hands down. Battle for Helm's Deep is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Tell me that isn't one of the best films.
It is. It definitely is. There are parts, just because I may love Lord of the Rings. I haven't read any of the books, but I read all the supplemental, cut through the bullshit Cliff Note versions, glossaries, and indexes and everything. There's slow moments in that movie.
Oh, sure.
Very slow.
Sure.
But then...
When they're lost in the Emmen Mule, and they go through the swamp, and, but there are some of the best performances in those films.
Yes.
And Bernard Hill as King Theoden of Rohan, I think, is one of the finest actors. I could watch him do anything. But that's beside the point. I mean, we all have our things. But for those, every slow moment, is it 40 minutes?
I believe so.
40 minutes of...
It's pretty much the whole second disc.
Of Two Towers. But we also get introduced to some great characters. We get introduced to Treebeard.
Yes.
We get to see Merry and Pippin on their own. We get to see Sam and Frodo on their own. And we get to see what starts to be one of the most entertaining things in the entire film, which is the running gag between Legolas and Gimli. And there's some great lines in those films. Throw me. Don't tell the dwarf. You know what I mean? Or don't tell the elf. You know what I mean? There is some really great scenes. It is so much fun. And it is still one of my favorite films to this day. I can't say that about Attack of the Clones.
No.
As a matter of fact, honestly, while we're on that subject, that is the worst name I have ever heard for a film. Attack of the Clones. What the hell are you thinking? You know what?
He's thinking about when he used to go to the drive-thru, and that's what
Fair
movies
enough.
were called.
Fair enough. But to me, it's as ridiculous as unobtainium. Okay? It is horrible. It is one of the worst names. I understand you wanted to harken back to your yesteryear.
Yes.
But it's a terrible title. I understood Phantom Menace, especially after seeing Phantom Menace, because you have a guy in the background working the strings. We all know who it is, but I'm just saying you understand what's going on there. Even Revenge of the Sith, which we'll talk about shortly. I understand the title.
Yes. But the clones are attacking the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
When
Right.
When you use a tagline like that, it sounds like they're attacking you.
Why wasn't it a attack of the Trade Federation or whatever the fuck it
Taxes!
I'm just saying, though.
Yeah.
Attack Account Dooku would have been even better. No, that's not really better. That's a hell of a phrase.
Here's a Dooku on you!
Yeah, that's a big shirt. That's
got good episode 2. Dooku on you!
Dooku on you. I would have taken that as a better title, but it was just not, I don't know. It was a horrible title to me. It just didn't roll off the tongue. You know what I mean? Even A New Hope, you understood. Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. I don't know. Attack of the Clones is still one of the worst ones. And truthfully, it is the most awkward love scene I have ever seen in my entire life. That when they're on Naboo and he's like surfing that cow thing.
Yeah.
It's just a bad movie. Bad parts of that movie. It's not a bad movie. That's not fair. There's actually some strong points.
Yeah.
We've talked about them. But it's a really...
And the thing is, I can look back at that one and the next one
Okay.
with a better eye for it because I'm a fan of the Clone Wars cartoon.
You did embrace that and I did not.
That crew that made that show did Lucas more favors than he'd probably ever admit. because he still had to. They still had to say, well, he helps plan it. That's a lie. Because there'd be no way in hell that he would do some of those episodes where it has no clones in it, no Jedi in it, but we're focused on this alien over here doing his thing. He can't tell human stories like that.
Well, he's just not a good dialogue writer.
No.
He's not. I mean, he is many things. Visionary, 100%. I will not dispute that at all. Everything he's had his hands in Hollywood in the last 30 years, like Pixar and you know, everything he's touched. I mean, LucasArts was one of the finest companies and products that came from LucasArts. It was incredible, yes. Consistently incredible. So I will not take anything away from his visionary. Even having the vision to release your material to Disney is visionary. You know what I mean? It's you have to give him credit. Where he just falls short is he's just not a very good director. That's all. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. But back to Two Towers. Great movie. Yet again, after seeing them head to head, I know who got my dollars that year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? I know who got my dollars, and I think if we look back at that, I still believe Two Towers outproduced it as far as box office draw.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But the thing is, we are starting to now see Peter Jackson. We're starting to pay attention more.
Yes.
And he was becoming our Lucas at the time, where, oh, with the success of this, I'd like to do this. And he had, same thing with, like, that's happening with Del
did King
Toro
Kong.
Now. You get your hands into so much stuff.
He did King Kong.
Yeah, of course he did.
It was
King
a great
Kong.
film.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it gets undersold, sadly, but it is a good movie.
It was a good movie despite of Jack Black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Agreed.
But yeah, we were starting to pay attention.
We were. And then we were also starting to read and understand, and we started figuring out what Weta was, and we started, you know, even down to the fact that, hey, did you know that Weta was the guys who did all the special effects for Xena and Hercules Legendary?
Right.
You know, it's like that kind of stuff, that we had only kind of reserved for Star Wars trivia. You know what I mean? That was kind of the interesting thing about Lord of the Rings. It definitely changed our perspective. It moved us to that. I mean, we were buying the magazines to find out what was happening, the on sets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It allowed us to have that fervor again of being rabid and wanting information and
which we
wanting
did
to be entertained.
Which we did, and we went to it, and you know, and I mean, I bought a National Geographic disc because they went to New Zealand while they filmed Lord of the Rings, and all I wanted to see was more Lord of the Rings stuff. You know what I mean? That was really what it became for me, and for us, all of us. I mean, you know, and it was kind of interesting the fact that we had the source material, we had the books, of course, we all know how it ends. We all saw the Filmation cartoons in the 80s when we were kids. We knew how this was ending, but we couldn't wait to see it.
Right.
Which will bring us to episode 3.
Yes. So, stick around for episode 3. Keep being rad.
And stay dorky.
See you there.